Time passed. The days fell on us like gentle rain. The nights wrapped us in gauzy arms embroidered with stars. Only a few months, and then we would be making our way back to Ayodhya. Ayodhya. After so many years in the forest, the city seemed unreal to me, a place out of an old tale. If someone had asked me what the palace had looked like, or even my quarters, I wouldn't have been able to answer. Thoughts of returning there filled me with turmoil, worries, and elation, jostling one another. All the people I had known there, how much they must have changed by now, and in their eyes, I would see how much I had changed. I thought of Kaushalya. Had grief aged her? I longed to see Urmila. She would be upset with me for having abandoned her for so long. I would have to work long and hard to cajole her out of her well deserved anger. And what would happen when we finally came face to face with Kaikeyi? Ram may have forgiven her, but Lakshman had not, and of my own feelings I was unsure. I knew I would miss the forest in spite of its hardships, for I had known a kind of freedom here, a lightness that I would never experience again once I was crowned Queen of Ayodhya. Most important, here I had had Ram all to myself. In Panchavati, he had shed his responsibilities as a son and prince and become foremost my friend. I allowed Lakshman to have his own special time with his brother to go hunting, promising not to venture outside the hut on those occasions. We both knew that once Ram became king, he would grow distant from us. He would belong first and foremost to his people. We accepted that that was how it had to be. There were no more attacks by Rakshasas. Ram and Lakshman must have killed them all, or perhaps news of their battle prowess had spread through the Rakshasa tribe and no one else dared to face them. And my dreams of Surpanaka had ceased too, so I didn't bother to tell Ram about them. The deer appeared soon after that. From the first, I sensed there was something unusual about the animal. For one, it was larger than any of the other deer I had seen, and its skin was not spotted but a clean, shining gold. Everything about it gleamed, its antlers, its hooves, the lake black eyes. It solemnly regarded me with as though it had things it wanted to tell me. For another, it was not afraid of me. It watched as I walked towards it with a handful of fresh spinach leaves I grew in my garden, emerald green and dewy, but unlike the other deer, it wouldn't take them from my hand, nor from the ground when I lay them down and backed away. When I approached it again, It allowed me to reach a certain closeness, and then it moved away, stepping elegantly, quite unafraid. Its strangeness, of course, was part of its appeal. But the most unusual thing about the deer, though I wouldn't realize it until later, was that I couldn't stop thinking about it. When I told Ram about the deer, he smiled indulgently as though I were a child to be humored. I could see that he didn't believe me when I insisted that it was different from all the other deer I had seen. This annoyed me. I decided that I would conquer the deer. If charm did not work, I would employ subterfuge. I felt a strange desire to throw my arms around its neck, to hug its silkiness. I would weave a rope of dry grasses, tie it around its neck, and lead it victoriously to Ram. When we went back to Ayodhya, I would take it with me. But the deer was a wily creature. It allowed me to approach closer each day, but every time it shied away just before I could touch it. It was as though it were teasing me. After a week of this, I was feverish with frustration. I want you to catch this deer for me, I said to Ram. I have got to have it. Ram looked at me in surprise because it was not my habit to make demands. But I was not myself. That is what happens when we crave something so much. I made Ram hide inside the hut while I waited outside with my usual offering of spinach leaves until the deer appeared. Then I whispered to Ram to take a look. The deer appeared even more beautiful, if that were possible, on this day. Its large, expressive eyes were fringed with thick lashes. Its antlers sparkled as though studded with jewels. When Ram stepped out of the hut, I tensed, afraid that it would flee into the forest, but it only retreated to the edge of the clearing. Even when Lakshman arrived, lugging a load of firewood, it didn't disappear. From the shadow of the trees, it watched us unblinking. For a moment, I thought its eyes glimmered with tears, but I was only being fanciful. Ram was watching the deer intently. He hadn't responded to me. Isn't it beautiful? I whispered again. I waited eagerly for him to agree, a little indulgently, as he usually did when he got excited over something I came across in the forest. But he only said, I don't have a good feeling about this animal. Something about it is not right. It makes me uncomfortable. Lakshman had come up to us by this time. I feel the same way, brother, he said. Maybe it is a Rakshasa in disguise, here to spy upon us. The best thing to do is scare it off. Shall I do that? He reached for his bow, and the deer stepped backward warily until only the tip of its antlers showed through the bushes. I was suddenly furious with Lakshman and his continuous talk about Rakshasas. What right had he to spoil my innocent pleasure? God knows I had few enough in this wilderness. I turned to Ram, sure he would honor my request. In such matters, He was always a most indulgent husband. But today he said, better you forget about this deer, Sita, whatever it is. I will get you something else, another deer if you wish. Anger throbbed inside me, cold as iron. Did he think I was a child to be distracted, to be fobbed off with a toy, a replacement to suit his convenience? What was wrong with him? Why was he being so insensitive today, siding with his brother? Couldn't he feel how achingly lonely I was? How much I longed for something to hold in my arms and cuddle and take care of? The words flew from my mouth before I knew what I was saying. The language I used was formal, my tone more suited to the royal court than the leaf thatched hut I was standing in front of. Did you not, at the time of our marriage ceremony, promise to provide for all my needs? I think you will agree that I have rarely asked you for anything all these years, and even then only small things. But today I am asking. I wish for the deer and no other, however difficult it might be to get. If you refuse, I will understand that the words of the heir of the house of Raghu are worthless than the ashes that are left behind when a fire dies. My voice reverberated in the clearing. The deer took a step forward as though drawn to it. The whites of its eyes glinted. The look in them was strangely human. I shivered. Why did my words sound so familiar and so ominous? I longed to take them back, but my pride wouldn't allow me. Ram looked into my face, his eyes filled with so much sorrow that I wanted to throw myself at his feet. To say, forget the deer, I have you, that is enough. I even took a step forward, but it was too late. He had already shouldered his bow and was turning away. His last words to me before he disappeared into the dark tangle of trees where the deer had fled were, since this animal matters so much to you, I will bring it back alive or dead. To Lakshman, he said, brother, guard Sita until I return. And Lakshman's voice resolute, don't worry, brother, I will guard her. I swear it upon my honor. Time passed, but how slowly it passed. The moments like grains that ants were carrying from a mountain of sugar, one at a time. The sun tilted past its zenith. The shadows lengthened and turned purple, though it was too early for them to do so. The forest grew unnaturally cold. Far above, I thought I saw a strange shape soaring and wheeling, disappearing in and out of clouds. I couldn't tell what it was. Lakshman paced up and down wordlessly, curtly refusing food when I offered it to him. He wanted me to know he was displeased with me for sending Ram on this stupid errand. And therefore, I couldn't share my unease with him, nor my mortification at having allowed anger to get the best of me, to have parted from Ram with such bitter words. The stronger the expectation, the more our anger towards the beloved if he does not fulfill it, and the less our control over ourselves. Why else couldn't I stop myself when I knew very well that I shouldn't bring up the house of Raghu and their pride in keeping their word. I was well aware that it was the chink in Ram's armor. I shouldn't have used my knowledge, born of intimacy, against him, but I did. After a while, my mortification was overshadowed by worry. Ram was never gone for so long when he went hunting. Even on the rare occasions when he would come across tigers or lions, he would despise them with ease. And this was just a deer. He should have caught it already. I knew he had special astras that turned into nets or ropes and bound his target effortlessly. So, why hadn't he come back yet? Finally, I could not stop myself. I am afraid for Ram, I told Lakshman. I wish I had not sent him after the deer. What if he is in danger? Lakshman, plain speaker that he was, said, that is right. You should not have nagged him to go. We both told you something was very wrong with the deer. Then, seeing the distress on my face, he added kindly, but you need not worry about Ram. There is not a creature in this forest, beast or Rakshasa, that can hurt him. The conviction in his voice calmed me, but just then I heard a cry. It was Ram's voice, though I had never heard it distorted like this with pain and anguish. Sita, Sita, I am wounded. Treachery. Brother Lakshman, I need you. Come to my aid, brother, please. My entire body began to tremble. Lakshman, get your bow and arrows. Didn't you hear that? You must go. Go right now. Ram is in trouble. He needs your help. Maybe the deer was a Rakshasa. After all, Lakshman shook his head. That is not Ram. Can't be. I know it for sure. Sister in law, you have got to believe me. You haven't seen Ram fight the way I have. He is a match for even the king of Rakshasas. Besides, he wouldn't be wailing and begging that way like some coward weakling. That is not his style. The voice came to us again, borne over a shuddering wind. It seemed fainter this time. Brother, help me. Come quick. It broke off mid sentence. Go, Lakshman, I cried. Clearly, he is in trouble of some kind. Go for my peace of mind, even if you don't think Ram needs you. But, infuriatingly, Lakshman didn't move. I promised Ram that I would guard you. No matter what happens, I can't leave you alone. You're a lot more vulnerable than he is. I'm sure all this is Rakshasa magic. Ignore it. Have more faith in your husband. I heard the voice again. It was clearly Ram's. How could Lakshman claim it was not? Lakshman, it said. It sounded more distant now, as though Ram was being dragged away even as he called to us, Sita. There was a horrible choking, gurgling sound, then an ominous silence. Lakshman, I cried weeping, as your elder sister-in-law, I order you to go. Lakshman shook his head. With all due respect, sister-in-law, my elder brother's order takes precedence over yours. He told me to take care of you, and by my honor, that is what I am going to do. I paced up and down, wringing my hands, crazed with worry. What could I say to Lakshman to shake him up, to force him to go to my beleaguered husband's aid? Then it came to me the greatest insult I could think of. How dare you speak of honor? I cried, pouring all the taunting rage I could summon into my voice, regretting the words even as I formed them. I understand now why you are refusing to go to help Ram. You want me for yourself. You are hoping that if Ram dies, you will make me your wife. Ah, why not? After all, he is only a half brother, my poor Ram. Bharat has taken his kingdom. Why shouldn't you take his wife? But it won't work. I tell you, I will kill myself rather than let you lay even a finger on me. Lakshman's face went white with shock at my words. I braced myself for his rage, but he only said with great sadness, "You know full well that I respect you like my own mother and want nothing more than to protect you. But after what you have said, questioning my honor, I can't remain here. I will break my promise to Ram, something I have never done in my life, and I will go in search of him, though I know he is perfectly safe. But you, left alone, you are in grave peril. I feel it in my bones." He took an arrow and, with its sharp edge, inscribed a large circle around the hut. I think he whispered a mantra while he drew it, for the line began to glow like it was on a fire. "Don't step outside this Rekha on any account," he said to me as he left. "I hope it will keep you safe. I pray to the gods to watch over you." But his voice was bleak, as though he didn't expect much of them. Thanks for listening. Now, some word power. Time passed. The days fell on us like gentle rain. The nights wrapped us in gauzy arms embroidered with stars. Gauzv, gauzy means made of very thin, light cloth. I decided that I would conquer the deer. If charm did not work, I would employ subterfuge. Subterfuge, subterfuge means deceit used in order to achieve one's goal. Its antlers sparkled as though studded with jewels. Antlers, antlers means a horn with parts like branches that grows on the head of a deer. Even when Lakshman arrived, lugging a load of firewood, it didn't disappear. Lugging, lugging means carry or drag a heavy or bulky object with great difficulty. Anger throbbed inside me, cold as iron. Did he think I was a child to be distracted, to be fobbed off with a toy, a replacement to suit his convenience? FOBOFF, fob off means to deceive or trick someone by giving them something inferior other than what they want. I thought I saw a strange shape soaring and wheeling, disappearing in and out of clouds. I couldn't tell what it was. Lakshman paced up and down wordlessly, curtly refusing food when I offered it to him. He wanted me to know he was displeased with me for sending Ram on this stupid errand, and therefore I couldn't share my unease with him, nor my mortification at having allowed anger to get the best of me. To have parted from Ram with such bitter words. Mortification, mortification means great embarrassment or shame, humiliation. I paced up and down, wringing my hands, crazed with worry. What could I say to Lakshman to shake him up, to force him to go to my beleaguered husband's aid? Beleagured. Beleaguered means having a lot of problems, besieged with problems. Sita. There was a horrible choking, gurgling sound, then an ominous silence. Ominous. Ominous silence means a threatening and worrying silence, especially before something bad happens. And I will go in search of him, though I know he's perfectly safe. But you, left alone, you are in grave peril. Peril. Peril means serious and immediate danger. Don't step outside this Rekha on any account, he said to me as he left. I hope it will keep you safe. I pray to the gods to watch over you. But his voice was bleak, as though he didn't expect much of them. Bleak voice, bleak voice means a tone of despair, hopelessness. Thanks for listening.